Tennessee's insurance company.
This is Baseball VFL Cody Brown. Farm Bureau Insurance is the official insurance for Tennesseans. Believe in me for all of your insurance needs. Give me a call at 865-992-3871.
It's the Chase! It's the Chase! Live 1 to 3, Monday through Friday on Fan Run Radio, Fox Sports Knoxville. Listen to Chase and his friends on WKG. It's the Chase! It's the Scruffy City! Listen to his friends, and his friends are on WKGN. I'm always taking your calls on the Tennessee Vols. It's the Chase! It's the Chase! It's the Chase!
All right, the Chase is on East Tennessee. My name is Chase Thomas, joined alongside Jack Foster of Rocky Top Insider and Omaha Productions. First time, Jack Foster not in the building, but Jack Foster, are you with us right now, my friend?
I am, Chase. Can you hear me?
I don't hear Jack just yet, but we still have a full house here. We've got Garrett Armbrust of, producing 1 and 2, G6 Garrett, here on a beautiful Friday here in East Tennessee. Garrett, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. At least you can hear me. I don't know if you want to hear me for 2 hours, but you got the option whenever you want me.
There you go. Well, we've also got Jay King on the 1s and 2. Jay, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Got to see some NFL preseason football last night. Might have ended in a tie between the Seahawks and the Raiders, but hey, football's back, and I get to see Cam Ward play football tomorrow, so that's going to be amazing.
There you go. Jay, are you with us? Or Jack, excuse me, are you on?
Chase, you got me now.
He's not there just yet. We'll get Jack on here in a second from his home studio. So you can see Jack right now on our Fan Run Sports stream, but we will get him in here with us on this Friday in just a second. As we kick things off, though, Tennessee Fall Camp Week 2 update. Jermod McCoy, Tennessee cornerback, is back out there after going through individual drills for the first time this season. Garrett, what do you think about Jermod being back out there today? It was very pleasant. I was pleasantly surprised after a lot of really, I don't want to say discouraging injury news to this point here and the wide receiver front and a couple other things. I mean, this is a great positive development for Tennessee, that just to see him, it's still individual stuff, but just seeing Jermod McCoy back out there and working with the team is pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think he definitely came back quicker than a lot of people were expecting him to be back within the team. Obviously, he was fully up and in his pads. Obviously, he was kind of sticking to just some stuff within his own one-on-one stuff and just on his own no contact stuff as of yet. But it gives you optimism that he'll at least be back before the Georgia game. I think it's pretty obvious they're probably not going to rush him back before the Syracuse game. But if you can have an elite player in your secondary like that ready to go against one of the top teams in the SEC, I think that gives your secondary a one-up leg. And I think that would be a positive development to continue to see him keep going. And obviously we've seen Boo pretty much be back active again. So, I mean, if you would have said 3 weeks ago that both those guys would be at least doing something in some capacity with the team, I think everyone would have taken it.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what ultimately happens with Jermod and how quickly he'll be back. Because there's just the rumors are all over the place, right? Like, he has a lot to protect. He's a projected first rounder. He has nothing really to prove at Tennessee with the kind of season he had. And if you're already getting mocked to the first round here in 2026, you got to be careful. And Tennessee has to be extremely careful with how they approach things with Jermod. And it's also one of those where they don't have to rush Jermod back. That's why you go out and get Colton Hood here in the spring portal window,
Yeah, no, I mean, it almost kind of reminds me on the baseball front of A.J. Russell a little bit, a guy that was projected to be a very high draft pick, has the surgery, comes back. They don't really rush him into the season as the season begins. And obviously, as the season went on, they used him a lot more than they did at the beginning. And I think that's what you're going to see with Jermod. You're going to see at the beginning of the season, he's not going to be going probably, the entire game. Definitely, like I said, probably won't start the Syracuse game. And then when he comes back for the Georgia game, you'll have to see if he plays that, how many snaps he can go. And really by the Mississippi State game, that's going to be your second SEC game. I think that'll be a really good point in the season. It'll be your, fifth game of the season. I mean, that's really going to be once you get to that point, it'll be really interesting to see how many snaps per game he's taking, if he looks like he's at full 100% health. Because as you said, you don't want to send someone out there too early and jeopardize their first-round draft pick or jeopardize their career by them re-injuring themselves again or injuring a different body part. It's just not something that the coaching staff wants to be responsible for or due to a player that's on the team.
Yeah, you just have to be extremely cautious with how you go about this. And I mean, corner is a different type of animal for Tennessee, but I will say part of the reason I think you have to be cautious is they rotate a lot in a lot of different spots at Tennessee. One of the spots they don't rotate is really in the secondary. If they find guys that they're comfortable with, especially the vets, like Tim Banks will play Jalen McCullough, will play Wesley Walker, will play Demario McDonald, will play Andre Turrentine a bunch of snaps. And last year, Ricky Gibson and Jermod McCoy were right up there. There wasn't a heavy rotation. It was McMurray coming in as a top 100 PFF corner, but the snap counts weren't the same. And it's just one of those things where if Jermod's back, Jermod is going to be back in terms of like, hey, we need a high snap count load for you, because that's not something Tennessee has done in the past at corners. Like, they want guys on the field a whole heck of a lot. Like, if you're going, you're going.
Yeah, you don't want to change up the way that you're, running your defense for one guy. You don't want to send him back and say, well, he's going to play half the snaps or he's going to do this. Obviously, like you said, it's going to be kind of an all or nothing. Either he can go out and give 100% for the team and he's going to be able to make an impact on the field, or they're not going to rush him back. And if he's not going to be able to give full 100%, then they're probably going to continue to wait. But I mean, like you said, obviously very impactful to have on the field. You saw the interception against Alabama. That was one of the plays of the season. And once you get him back to healthiness, you're going to see many more of those plays on the field from him in the secondary, as well as a lot of the other guys. Like you said, Colton Hood, that's going to be an exciting player to see kind of where he moves in. Obviously, with Boo probably most likely out for the opener with everything that went on, does Colton Hood kind of slide into that position of what Boo was playing last season? Obviously a very good corner, can move into that star position. So there's just a lot of different roles that other guys might have to step up and do the first couple parts of the season. But I feel pretty good with the depth of the secondary, and I feel pretty good with the depth of the defense in general. And that's the side of the ball that you feel really confident in this year.
Well, we got a jam-packed show for you guys today. College baseball, D1 Baseball did a part 2 of their State of College Baseball series, and I thought it was really fascinating, some of the stuff they talked about here, and they do a great job over there on D1 Baseball, and what might change here in the not-too-distant future with college baseball. Because everyone's been looking at the field of 68 in terms of the men's side of things and expansion, but they talked about a couple different things that I think would actually be pretty crazy. I don't want to say crazy. It would be pretty gigantic for college baseball as it continues to evolve and grow each and every year. But one of the things that they talked about was changing the regional format from 16 hosts to 32 and having a best of 3 series all across the board. That's something to talk about. And then also the calendar, moving that up so that you're playing college baseball in June and July, and also getting more Big Ten schools and Big East schools and those schools who have to travel for the first 6 weeks of the season, give them an opportunity to play at home. And also maybe the weather is better for a lot of these southern schools. Over Tennessee was in all kinds of rain delays because of the spring weather. And if you're moving closer to the summer, then maybe you avoid a lot more of those rain delays and start-stop frustrations. But we'll talk about that here in segment number 2. We'll get William Pattison, host of Overtime and The Slate, to talk about the Grizzlies with our Grizzlies guy, to talk about Zach Edey and what they saw from him his rookie season and where he still has to grow, how he fits next to Ja and Jaren going into year 2 for him, and expectations for the former Purdue great in Memphis. At number 2, we'll talk about ESPN's David Hale, where he placed Tennessee in his tiered FBS rankings in 2026. It's pretty interesting to see who Tennessee got grouped with, so we'll discuss that. We'll talk about our year 2 Lowdown series as we continue on that Friday staple on how good Mike Matthews can be in year 2 and what the expectation should be for him, and what other guys in his class in the top 10 wide receiver group, how they have fared thus far in their college careers. And we'll wrap up with favorite Vol who never made it to the NFL and why. Who is your favorite Vol who never made it in the NFL but was still your favorite guy to watch at Tennessee over the years in football? So if you want to jump in the conversation, you can do so at 865-966-3435. Again, 865-966-3435 is the way to jump on. We'll see if we can get Jack Foster of Omaha Productions and Rocky Top Insider in here in just a little bit. But either way, we have a jam-packed show for you guys with Garrett and Jay. The biggest thing to me when it comes to the scrimmage tomorrow, fellas, is I am very, very curious what happens in regards to, no Staley potentially, we haven't seen Chris Brazzell yet. And if you're having a QB1 battle and we're spending all this time on kind of a separation Saturday type deal with the scrimmage, what are we going to ultimately do in terms of having a guy break out, whether it's Aguilar or Merklinger, when you don't even have 2 of the 3 starters? Like, how do you really separate yourself? It's an unfortunate spot for guys like Jake and Joey to be in, because, I mean, is Trey Wary going to get a lot of looks here as a preferred walk-on for Tennessee? Who's going to be the guys that are out there at receiver when you have maybe 5 scholarship guys to scrimmage on Saturday? So it's really interesting to look at and where things are at coming out of tomorrow's first scrimmage here this fall. So stick with us. It's the Chase right here on Fan Run Radio, Fox Sports Knoxville, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM, and always streaming for free on that Fan Run Radio app.
Take Fan Run Radio with you on the all-new Fan Run app. Just search for Fan Run Radio wherever you download your apps.
Only 3 homestands remaining to see your Knoxville Smokies play this season. And this week will be full of celebrations, starting with free hot dog night on Tuesday. All the hot dogs you can eat all night long. And if you're still hungry, we've got all you can eat Wednesday, Thirsty Thursday with half-off draft beers. Then on Friday, we honor one of the founding members of the Negro Southern League, the Knoxville Giants. On Saturday, we're continuing the fight against breast cancer by painting the park pink. And on Sunday is Cocoa Melon Day. Grab your tickets now at smokiesbaseball.com.
Rickard Ridge Barbecue, located in beautiful Cove Lake State Park. Rickard Ridge is home of the best ribs in the Volunteer State. Smoked daily by pitmaster Mark Rickard. The barbecue at Rickard Ridge is mouth-watering, fall-off-the-bone delicious. Take the scenic drive up I-75 to exit 134. For directions and to look at the rest of the menu, visit Rickard Ridge online at rickardridgebbq.com.
Believe in family. Believe in your fellow man. Believe in honesty and an honest day's work. We do. We're Farm Bureau Insurance. And we don't just believe in Tennessee. We believe in Tennesseans. Farm Bureau Insurance, Tennessee's insurance company.
This is Baseball VFL Cody Brown. Farm Bureau Insurance is the official insurance for Tennesseans. Believe in me for all of your insurance needs. Give me a call at 865-992-3871.
And here we go. It's William Pattison, and this is your daily invite to Overtime on Fan Run Radio. Weeknights from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern, I'm breaking down everything you care about, from the latest Tennessee Volunteers news to bold takes on college football, the NFL, and NBA. If it's happening in the world of sports, I've got an angle on it. You bring the passion, and I'll deliver the truth, the fire, and the facts. It's Overtime with William Pattison, weeknights at 7, only on Fan Run Radio.
Citizens National Bank. We make it easy to save money. Get access to thousands of discounts on shopping, dining, and travel with the CNB Plus Perks account. It's a powerful new way to save money with roadside assistance, cell phone protection, identity theft protection, and credit monitoring. Banking at CNB has its perks. Call or stop by a branch for more details.
Citizens National Bank. Banking never felt so good.
Member FDIC.
Ready to launch your career? Axle Logistics is a leading third-party logistics company where excellence is an energy. With an award-winning culture, Axle proves that positive outcomes come from a positive environment and a work hard, play hard mentality. At Axle, the drive for success is infectious. And with an uncapped commission structure, hard work isn't just noticed, it's rewarded. For those with big goals and even bigger dreams, Axle Logistics is the place to start your career. Located in Knoxville's historic Old City, Barley's offers great food, live music, the best draft beer selection in town, and now your new favorite place to watch sports. Their indoor projector is perfect for any weather, and they've revamped their upstairs area with more TVs to take in all of the action. Their menu features hand-battered chicken tenders, juicy burgers, fresh salads, and the tastiest pizza in Knoxville. You can enjoy their happy hour drink specials daily from open until 6 p.m. Barley's Tap Room and Pizzeria.
Attention service members and veterans. Introducing the Griffin Law Firm, your trusted ally in military legal matters. From court martials to benefit claims, at Griffin Law, your mission is their mission. Here's VFL Marshall Griffin.
As a veteran and retired military attorney, I've successfully defended lifelong benefits and helped preserve professional futures. So I know that when you hire a military justice lawyer, you maximize your chance to get relief. With my unique experience, I can advocate for you because there's no military matter that's too big or too small. Let us help you make these critical decisions that could affect the rest of your life. Remain silent. Request counsel. Call Griffin Law.
For a free consultation, call 888-707-4282. That's 888-707-4282. Or just visit griffinlawdefense.com.
We really need to get some branded stuff. Shirts, hats, promo items, something professional.
I mean, we could just find a website and order a bunch of it ourselves.
You could, but you're taking a big risk. You don't know the quality, the fit, the timeline. It's a roll of the dice.
Yeah, I guess. But isn't that how everyone does it now?
Not the ones who actually care about how their brand looks. Look, if we're putting our name on it, it needs to be done right. We need SM Athletics.
SM Athletics?
Yeah, they specialize in working with businesses like ours. Apparel, hats, promo gear, but real, customized stuff. They actually care if it turns out right.
Probably a lot better than getting stuck with 100 t-shirts with crooked logos.
Exactly. Plus, they'll walk you through everything. Sizing, colors, material, so it matches the image we're trying to build.
Makes sense. What's the name again?
SM Athletics. Trust me, if you want to look like a real company, not a flea market stand, this is the move. If you're serious about your brand, work with people who are serious about getting it right. SM Athletics.
Got a problem tree looming over your home? Call ECR Total Landscapes. Whether it's trimming, removal, or storm cleanup, our certified pros get the job done safely and efficiently. We're licensed, insured, and ready 24/7 for emergency calls. Big or small, we cut them all. ECR Total Landscapes. Call now for a free estimate, 865-384-2012, and mention promo code FANRUN for free stump grinding on any tree removal now through the end of the year. Also, visit us at ecrtotallandscapes.com.
This is Chase right here on Fan Run Radio, Fox Sports Knoxville, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM, and always streaming for free on that Fan Run Radio app. Jack Foster, are you with us now, my friend?
Chase, you got me now.
I got you now. We're doing it a little bit different. We can still see you on Fan Run Sports on our YouTube channel, but we're patching you in as a caller, longtime friend of the program. Jack Foster of Rocky Top Insider and Omaha Productions is here. Jack, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. It's a good week so far here in Tennessee. Got football just right around the corner, so couldn't be happier about that. And yeah, it's starting to get a little cooler too outside, so it's always nice.
Yes, it's that is always nice. Absolutely. And we have you are a big college baseball guy, obviously, and you do a great job covering Tennessee baseball on the baseball side of things. But one of the things I thought was interesting that I wanted to talk about here on this Friday edition of The Chase is college baseball. D1 baseball does a great job covering the balls and covering college baseball as a whole. But one of the things I think is super interesting that they did in their two-part series on their podcast feed was, hey, here are some changes that might be coming down the pike in the future. And I want to break these down into two different things because it's a great podcast that everyone should go check out. And they did a good summary on their website over there at d1baseball.com. But I think it would surprise some folks that, there's so much talk in regards to what's going to happen with men's basketball and college basketball expansion. Is it going to go from 68, 72? We know that now the feed did not expand to 72, at least for the next couple of years, but we'll see ultimately if that changes anytime in the future. But on the college baseball thing, that's not really been on my radar, and I imagine not a lot of people's radar. But when you hear there might be some weighing of expanding to 32 host sites and going away from the regional format to just doing a best of three all across the country, when you see that, what is your immediate reaction there?
I don't like it. I love the regional vibe of college baseball and using that in the first round at the NCAA baseball tournament. As far as the calendar goes, maybe I could hear out a potential change there. But as far as the tournament format, I don't want any change.
Yeah, and I wonder too, when you think about the format and the regional part of it, and they made a good point too to bring it up, is like we don't actually know if that would. the one thing we do know is it would increase hosting firepower, right? Like that would be something a lot of the fans who are hosting, who would not traditionally get an opportunity to host, would be able to host a playoff weekend. And I imagine it would be a hot ticket and great for those colleges that, generally speaking, do not host regionals and are usually traveling for that first round as 2 or 3 seeds. But I do wonder, in your estimation, based on what you've seen, like, do we see less upsets if they went to a 32-team host site? Like, would we see less teams take advantage of that, sending out their ace on Fridays and messing up the bracket and getting out of there? Will we see more of those Murray State type deals, or less if you were to get rid of the 4-team regional and just have 2 teams in each one?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. I think you probably see less, just because of how you're talking about the ace factor, and these 4 seeds can go out there and throw its best punch in a game 1 setting against the 1 seed of a regional. And then once you get in the winner's bracket of a regional, it's relatively easy. It's so much easier to obviously get out of the winner's bracket than the loser's bracket. You only have to win just a couple more games. Whereas if you're in the loser's bracket, it is a haul to get out of that and win the regional. You got to have some good pitching depth. So honestly, think you'd probably see less upsets if it was just a 3-game series, 1v1, than in the regional setting because of that factor.
Yeah, and I kind of wonder too, I mean, do you think that would really excite a whole lot of more college baseball fans? Do you think this would be something that would increase viewership, increase fandom in a lot of parts that are not as locked in college baseball, particularly in Big Ten country?
Yeah, just going to the 3-game series for a regional.
Yes, like if you were at like Wisconsin or Michigan or Iowa are hosting regionals instead of traveling, or in Illinois, teams like that.
Yeah, maybe. But also, I just think the amount of schools you get with the other way around, I don't know. That's a tough question. I don't think it would, honestly. I don't think it'd have a big impact, honestly. And the regionals are just such a fun event that I don't know how much better it would be for fandom if that happened. I get what you're saying about schools being able to host, but I don't think it'd have too much of a big impact.
What about you, Garrett?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if you're going to do it this way, like, I don't want Big Ten schools that have, like, I would rather the hosting go to the ECUs and, those teams like that, and the Coastal Carolinas of the world and those conferences. Then it's like the NCAA basketball tournament. Like, if you expand the basketball tournament, I don't want the 14th best SEC team in. Like, I want the 2nd best Missouri Valley team in. Like, I think if you're going to do this, you need to add more Group of 5 mid-major schools, opposed to just adding every SEC team or every ACC team. Because at that point, like, the regular season for those schools doesn't even really mean anything. Like, you get in a 3-game series, if you have 2 good pitchers, like, I mean, anybody can win.
Yeah, what do you think, Jay?
Are we talking about the postseason format? Or
yes.
Okay, yeah. I think it is a terrible idea to change it to the other way, because the NCAA baseball tournament is one of the best tournaments out there, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I absolutely love how it is done. It is one of the most unique postseasons in all of sports. I don't know. If there's one thing I would change to it, make everything nationally. Don't do it based on regions. Rank the top 16 teams, the 2nd 16, 3rd 16, 4th 16, and then do it like that, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't think there's any reason to change the tournament as it is so far.
I would I don't know. I kind of would want to see it. I wish there was a way to like not commit to it, where it's like, if we change it forever. I wish we could do like an experiment one year. I kind of worry, because it is such a great tournament, but I would kind of love to know have some comparison of what the ratings would be for going to 32, what the turnout and attendance would be at some of those schools that traditionally don't host, because they made a point, I think, in the podcast, and you can check all that out at d1baseball.com. I think they made a point of like what Duke was like this year. Duke had a strong turnout, and you saw how much buy-in they had there, and you see more and more of those powers in the ACC getting stronger. And part of like what's happening with the new roster limits is you're going to see guys like Dalton Bargo go to NC State, because there's just not room at Tennessee, but still a really good player and going to be really good for NC State. But I just think that you're going to see especially this winter, you're going to see a whole lot more portal movement. Like guys who are really good players at these premier SEC programs, you can't hoard talent like you did. So I think you're going to see more guys spread out and more teams closer together, especially at that Big 12 ACC level. And like Clemson just can't run roughshod, over the ACC as much anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be it's still going to be SEC, ACC, Big 12 are going to be the three premier conferences, and then it's going to be the Sun Belt and teams like that. Those just statistically have the highest RPI. Like the Big 10 does not have good RPI because the bottom half of their conference is horrible. Like the bottom half of the Big 10 would lose to 9 teams in the Sun Belt. Like it's just not, the Big 10 is not a baseball conference. So if we're getting Nebraska and Iowa to host regional tournaments, like I think I'm out. Like I don't need to see that. Like, I mean, to your point, like it was a good atmosphere at Duke, but like Murray State won that regional. So,
yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Well, and not everyone plays. I don't know if you know this, but not everyone plays baseball in the Big Ten. Wisconsin does not have a baseball program. So you're not even going to see everybody in that league. But you have
Syracuse doesn't play baseball in the ACC.
Yeah.
They don't have a baseball team at all.
But I wonder
the only last thing I'll say, the only good teams in the Big 10 are the ones that are like the Southern Big 10 schools.
Yeah. And also the new the old Pac-12 schools like Oregon, UCLA. I think UCLA's preseason number 1 or like way too early number 1 is what I saw.
Yeah. What do you think, Jack?
Yeah, I was going to say, like, it's just also college baseball. I want to make this point. College baseball is thriving, right? College baseball is booming in popularity right now. It would be not ideal to change any sort of postseason format right now, given the popularity that has been built in this decade. It just doesn't make sense to me to, why would you try to change something that's working so well? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So, I don't know. I think it's a dumb idea. I'm with Jay. It's a dumb idea to potentially change the postseason format. The regional's a ton of fun. It's what people look forward to. No reason to do that.
I have to ask, this is a sidebar. For all the good folks watching us on youtube.com/FanRunSports, like and subscribe there. Is that a Tennessee Nutcracker behind you, Jack Foster?
Yes, it is.
That is big time. Where did you get that?
I think my sister got that for me one Christmas. My sister's 10, so probably a couple years ago she got it for me. But it's a good addition to the background here. We got a Natty helmet, Tennessee Nutcracker, some the plate, of course, the baseball plate, which is the best part of it all.
Yes, the baseball plate's legendary. I mean, you got a Bid Sevenfold behind you. You're still going to a Bid Sevenfold this year, right?
Yes, in Chicago next month. Yep, got the 2 album covers on canvases. So very dope stuff.
I will say I do have a Titans Nutcracker. Those team Nutcrackers are fun to collect.
There you go. Well, yeah. On the Big Ten front, the other part of this podcast that I thought was pretty interesting in part 2 here, should we also move the calendar up? Like you said, college baseball is undoubtedly growing, but is there a final, it's kind of, with lack of a better way of saying it, like a final boss here, whereas the final way of expansion and really growing this thing out, is it moving the calendar up? I remember reading a piece at The Athletic a couple months ago on Iowa, and just they did a really big deep dive there. And Iowa's a good college baseball program, but in terms of the value of moving the college baseball calendar up, and I think one of the things people worry about is like how much does that mess up like the Cape Cod League and some like guys' summer plans and this, that, and the other. But you see like how just barren the sports calendar is in the summer that college baseball could own the summer if they wanted to. And also, do you want more teams involved where it's not just the SEC every year and the ACC and the Big 12? Do you want to see the Big East, like UConn, a good college baseball program, Rutgers, we just got Landon Mack from Rutgers after a great year. You have good programs up in the Northeast, and you also have great programs in the Big Ten where would you get more out of college baseball? Would it be best for college baseball as a sport to move it up and acquiesce to the Big Ten schools who, I mean, they have to be on the road for the first 6 weeks of the season? Or do you think it's tough luck? Sorry, you're going to have to make the trips and be away from campus for the first 6 weeks every season for the foreseeable future. I kind of see both sides. Where are you at, Jack?
Yeah, I mean, I think the season starting later makes more sense than before. So I guess it would technically be moving the season down, right?
Yes.
Not up in the calendar, but
right.
Moving the season down, right? So yeah, I mean, I don't know if they can really play into July, and then the portal thing is a factor, because look at Tennessee. I mean, Tony Vitello mentioned it a couple of times. You get so far behind the 8 ball if you go deep in the postseason as it is now. if you move the season even farther back, if the portal stays the same, then it just becomes even messier for those teams that are really good. So I don't know. I kind of like where it is. It is tough for the Big Ten teams. They're in the early part of the season, but conference play starts pretty late. I don't think they should really tinker with it much. Maybe a week I could hear you out on, but I don't think it should change all that much.
Yeah, we shall see. If you had to do one, though, we'll wrap up on this around the room. If you only can do one, or you have to pick one to change, which one would you be more okay with around the room? Calendar, moving that down to help out a lot of these Big Ten schools, or would you go try out the regional format of straight 32-team hosts and just a 3-game series between 2 teams in that regional round? Which way do you go? Jake, what do you got first?
I think it's easily the calendar. I think that benefits the sport more, like by far away more than the format.
Okay. What about you, Garrett?
I would go calendar as well, but then I just feel like it's too close to the MLB draft at that point. I mean, the draft is in early mid-July, so if you're playing the College World Series in July, like, what are your top players not going to be able to play? Like, how does that work?
Well, I think part of what they talked about too was even if they moved it down, they would drop games, so you wouldn't play as many games. I believe. I
don't know. I just feel like when you start getting into what is the MLB draft to like move their date for? It's like no, like AA, AAA, single A baseball, like they have schedules too. Like everyone gets affected by a calendar move in college baseball. So I don't know. I don't think there's really a good option for both, but I would go calendar, I guess.
Jack, what about you?
Yeah, easy calendar for me. So clean sweep.
Clean sweep. I like it. When we come back, we'll get William Pattison in studio, our resident Grizzlies guy, Memphis native, to talk all things Zach Edey and where he stands to improve the most going into year 2 with the Grizz and how he fits next to Job Morant and Jaren Jackson going into year 2, and a whole lot more Grizz talk as we wrap up hour number 1 with Jack Foster, remote from Rocky Top Insider and Omaha Productions. Stick with us. It's The Chase right here on Fan Run Radio, Fox Sports Knoxville, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM, and always streaming for free on that Fan Run Radio app.
You're listening to Fan Run Radio, the sports humans.
Yeah, it's another day, but what kind of day is it really? A day of doom scrolling? Laundry day? Nah, it's a White Claw day. Light and refreshing tasting, uniquely cold way filtered. There's an iconic flavor for everyone. So grab a pack, grab your friends. Make the most of each day with those who matter most. When you're together with White Claw, every day is a once-in-a-lifetime experience. You just gotta grab it. White Claw. Grab life by the claw. Please drink responsibly. Hard seltzer with flavors. White Claw Seltzer Works, Chicago, Illinois.
Got a flat tire? Strange noise under the hood? Don't stress. Roll into Matlock Tire and Auto Service. From oil changes and brake repairs to brand new tires, Matlock's certified techs do it all. Fast, friendly, and fair priced, Matlock is the home of the price match guarantee. Bring in any competitor's ad and Matlock will match the exact same tire for the exact same price. Matlock Tire and Auto Service. 5 locations in East Tennessee. Visit matlocktireservice.com to find the location nearest you and schedule your appointment.
Okay, so we really need uniforms and equipment for this season. Can I trust you with that? Cool, I'll just order them online. What? Yeah, I'm going to hop online and I'm going to get them ordered. Hold up, that's not a good idea. We shouldn't just spend money on some random online retailer, okay? I mean, it seems pretty convenient. Trust me, it's a terrible idea. Let me simplify this for you. SM Athletics. Okay, how do you pronounce it? SM Athletics? They're the go-to for uniforms and equipment, whether it's for universities, high schools, youth leagues, you name it. So why wouldn't you rather go with professionals who can guide us through the process, design the perfect uniforms, and deliver the best equipment? Yeah, I guess that makes sense. What's the name again? SM Athletics. Right. It's definitely smarter to go with a company that emphasizes customer service, fair pricing, and, of course, excellent products. Exactly. So, yeah, I guess it's settled then. For uniforms and equipment for all sports, it's SM Athletics.
I was afraid to cut the cord, but once I did, I couldn't believe it took so long to do it. Paying too much for my cable bill had become a bad habit. I either wasn't getting what I wanted or never knew where to find any of my favorite shows until it was too late. Plus, the prices just kept going up. Thankfully, I discovered a new way to watch called Philo. For just $25 a month, I can catch all my favorite shows on networks like BET, MTV, and TLC. It even has Nickelodeon for my kids. I can watch anytime I want, anywhere I want. Plus, Philo lets me have up to 3 streams at once, so everyone can watch what they want at the same time. Throw in the unlimited DVR that saves all my favorites for up to a year, and this really is the best deal in TV. I just wish I hadn't waited so long. Sound too good to be true? Well, try why people who love TV love Philo. Go to philo.tv, that's philo.tv, and start your 7-day free trial now.
Chase right here on Fan Run Radio, Fox Sports Knoxville, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM, and always streaming for free on that Fan Run Radio app. We're back here on a Friday as we wrap up hour number 1. We got William Pattison of Overtime of the slate from 6 to 8, Monday through Friday, right here on Fan Run Radio. And do we have Jack Foster with us right now on Rocky Top Insider? Are you with us? Still no Jack. We'll see if we can get Jack on here momentarily, but we're going to continue on with Memphis Grizzlies talk here as we wrap up hour number 1. We got William Pattison in studio. We've done a couple different ones on the Memphis front, and we've done Jaren Jackson, we've done John Morant. We are now going, and we've also done Scottie Pippen Jr. last week. Now we move on to Zach Edey, Tennessee Volunteers fans' favorite Memphis Grizzly. I imagine it was very weird. It's probably the same crossover with Titans fans who had to root for Will Levis after his Kentucky years. Was really uncomfortable, I imagine, for a lot of Vol fans. But then you look at Zach Edey, who was a really productive first-team all-rounder. What do you think when it comes to his season? Where did he get better from start to finish? What areas he still need to improve? How does he fit in next season as well?
Yeah, you mentioned, being a Tennessee fan and then having Zach Edey join your team. It was very interesting for sure. And on draft night and leading up to that draft, I was a big Donovan Clingan fan at a UConn, and I really wanted him. And Memphis had the opportunity to grab him. You had a couple of different conversations throughout that week that Clingan might end up being your guy. But you go with Zach Edey. And the thing with Edey is that, at 7'4", he's going to be the tallest guy on the floor at all times. And, or 7'2", so whatever it is. He's going to be the tallest guy on the floor at all times. And that automatically gives you a huge advantage at rebounding. And when you moved off of Steven Adams, you knew that you were going to have to go in the direction of finding a center. And I thought Edey was very productive last season in the role of being that rebounder, being a guy that can be about a 10-10 guy each night. The issue with him and what he's got to improve on is first staying on the court, as he's injured heading into this season, got injured in off-season workouts. And I anticipate that he will be ready around the start of the season, but could possibly miss a couple of weeks to a month. But once you get him back in the lineup, he's got to find a way to stay on the court once he's in the game. He's got to stay out of foul trouble. And for Tennessee fans that watched him play at Purdue, it seemed like he was immune to getting foul calls and immune to getting in foul trouble. But in the NBA, he racked up a lot of fouls, and there were a lot of times he'd foul out of games, which then would put Memphis in a tough position to where Jaren Jackson Jr. would then have to move over to the 5, and you had a lack of center depth, which just caused a lot of problems. So what he has to improve on is staying on the floor, staying out of foul trouble, and also I think just his mobility overall and his quickness in a very fast-paced NBA. You've got to find a way at your height to be able to keep up with some of the faster players in this league. And I feel like if he's able to do that, get a little bit faster, get a little bit of a quicker first step, and also combine that with his rebounding skills, staying out of foul trouble, I think he'll be a really beneficial player. And for Memphis that has a John Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr. on big-time contracts, you need a guy like Zach Edey who is on a more comfortable, rookie contract as a starter to perform well and stay in the game. So a lot of Tennessee fans might not like to hear Zach Edey's name being mentioned, but for the Grizzlies, he is beneficial in the sense of he's a huge dude, going to be the tallest dude on the court at all times, and is going to be a constant rebounding threat and also rim protector.
Does he feel like a natural long-term fit next to Jaren Jackson based on what you saw his rookie season?
Well, the problem is, with his injury history and his lack of staying on the court, you didn't get a ton of moments with the two of them together. But I do think that Jaren Jackson Jr. is one of the best secondary defenders in the league. Obviously, he's a Defensive Player of the Year award winner. But when he's a secondary defender next to another big, imposing rim protector, he does a great job of helping over and getting blocks and getting good shot contests. If Edey's able to stay out there, it's really tough to score on a 7-4 guy. It's really tough to be able to put up a shot over a guy like that. And when Jaren Jackson Jr. can then come over and not have the primary assignment of a imposing center that likes to, kind of beat around down low, I think it can work. But this is kind of the trial and error process of drafting a guy like Edey, who's a 4-year college player, continue to develop throughout his time at Purdue. And now you've got to see, is he able to take that jump? Is he able to continue to progress as a NBA player? And I think that's the question right now. But I do think long-term it could work out. Obviously, this year and next year we'll really get an answer on that.
Yeah, and I kind of wonder too. I mean, in the pace and space era of the NBA, like Jaren Jackson, not a great rebounder. That's like one of the weird things about Jaren to this point. But is Edey going to be a guy who can be on the floor in crunch time of big time playoff games, or is it going to always be Jaren Jackson at the 5?
Well, again, I think that's something you've got to figure out. You've got to watch play out through a course of a season, and that's why you need him healthy, because in addition to what he gives you offensively as a rebounder, second chance points opportunity, and what he does defensively as a rim protector and a rebounder and a guy that can start your offense and get in transition, you have to have him on the floor. So there were a lot of times last year in close games, you wouldn't even have Zach Edey available because he'd be out due to foul trouble. So we haven't really seen that a ton. And again, that's something he's got to improve on. So if he's able to do that this year, stay on the floor, I think he can be a plug and play guy in those crucial minutes, depending on the rotations and what the opposing team is trying to do. Right now, I don't think he's a guy you have a ton of trust in late game, as you want to space the floor, and especially as Ja Morant is one of the best clutch players in the league. You want to have the opportunity to get him to the basket, and Edey is not a floor spacer, so you would probably want to run a Jaren Jackson Jr. in that situation to free up some space and have him, kind of linger around the mid-range area or three-point line to give Ja Morant as much room around the cup. But if Edey is able to continue to stay on the floor, I think you can start to see possibilities where that could be true.
And it's also interesting because you have Brandon Clark. We'll see if he's back at the start of the season next year, right? And then you have Santi Aldama, who we have interesting thoughts on. But
Sure.
I mean, what is that right starter potentially if Edey's not ready to go out of the gate?
Well, right now, I think you'd maybe give Jock Landale a look. I mean, you move off of Jay Huff, you send him to Indiana for a couple of second-round picks, and then a couple hours later, you had Jock Landale, who played for the Suns, played for the Rockets. I think he's a serviceable big, and especially just kind of in this fill-in role temporarily. Now, is he a long-term starter? I don't believe so, but I think as a depth piece, some of his minutes last year that were non-garbage minutes were actually pretty strong efficiency numbers. So I think that early in the season, if Edey's not available, you run with Landale. And then if Edey comes back, then I think you've got a guy in Landale that can be a serviceable guy off the bench at that center position. But, I mean, I think Edey starts when he's healthy, to answer your question of who that fifth starter would be. I think you've kind of seen how the Jaren Jackson Jr. at the 5 has run over the last couple of years. And it's not that he's bad, but it's not that you can give him, 15, 20-plus minutes as your 5. Again, I think he's a great secondary defender, great help defender, but he struggles in some of those one-on-one matchups with true centers back to the basket.
And it's interesting, too, when you look at the pre-post All-Star game Nuggets for the Grizzlies. They were 36-18 before the break, and they were 12-16 after the break. Obviously, you have a coaching change. Zach Edey was a big part of what they were doing before. It seemed like Taylor Jenkins it felt like he was more comfortable there. I mean, do you have any concern about how Edey is going to fit with the new kind of offense that has been rumored is going to be implemented around John Company this year?
Well, look, I think Tomas has a pretty firm grasp of what he wants to do with this offensive group. And a big reason why Jenkins was let go is because Morant's usage rate completely plummeted last season by, like 20%. And he's the best player on the floor for the Grizzlies, and he's the toughest matchup for any opposing team every night. You've got to have him be a focal point. Now, what the Grizzlies have done this offseason, yes, they move off of Desmond Bane, who's your best three-point shooter, but you go at a guy in Kentavious Caldwell-Pope that I think will be a serviceable guy. Jalen Wells comes back this season, and he was, a starter on a playoff team last year as a rookie. What can he be in year 2? Cedric Coward, another guy you added. He's a good 3-and-D player. I think it's all about surrounding the right guys around Morant and then figuring it out from there. So I think Edey can work if you have 3 shooters around to where now you can get a one-on-one pick-and-roll action with Morant and Edey. If Edey is able to get a little bit quicker, as I was talking about, you can roll to the basket and then have an opportunity for a lob threat. And we know Morant is really good at a floater, which I think he subtly improved on last season. I know last time we came on, or when we talked about Morant, I said he really didn't improve anything. The floater was a little bit better last season. But if Edey is able to create space and get to the basket, that opportunity allows for Morant to kind of have a decision, almost like a read option as a quarterback, take it to the basket, take the floater, or have a lob threat opportunity. So it can work. You just got to have the 3-point shooters around.
Do you think Edey's a big fantasy basketball guy long term?
Look, I haven't played fantasy basketball in a while.
Yeah.
But it's all about his minutes. If he's on the floor, he's arguably the best rebounder on the floor, and he's one of the best shot blockers, rim protectors.
Yeah.
You're going to get opportunities to stack up a lot of rebounds and a lot of blocks. Now, his offensive production could be limited. There's some nights that Edey could go for 12, 14 points and have a lot of opportunities around the rim and shoot at a high efficiency. But there'd be other nights too where he'd get shut down by a much better defensive player like an Isaiah Hartenstein and Chet Holmgren kind of going at him. It was not a good matchup. But if you could find, ways to get him easy rim runs, and again, that comes from the pick and roll offense with him and Morant, I think he could be a solid option. He wouldn't be my starter for a fantasy basketball team, but a good depth piece to have. And I think you go about 8 guys deep in fantasy basketball, right? You have about 8 starters.
Yeah.
So, I think if he's able to play big minutes, definitely a guy you could take a look at.
Do you know what's interesting too? Matt Painter, who obviously is very biased when it comes to Zach Edey and what he can ultimately be, but he was talking to CBS Sports' Gary Parrish, and this is what he said about him. And I wonder if you agree, as someone who's watched so much Zach Edey this past year with the Grizz. He said, quote, "I just think he's going to grow into an offensive role over time. They'll learn to trust him a little bit more. I understand it's not a post-up league anymore, but there are advantages in getting to the bonus, getting to the free throw line. Once he starts to get to that respect as a player in the league, I think he'll get more calls because they'll start to see a pattern. Those guys really don't want to battle with him. They don't want to take that on all the time, and he's very comfortable with that." Do you agree?
Yeah, I think, the free throw opportunity is big for him as well, and that could be another room of improvement for him. At Purdue, he'd go to the free throw line a lot, and he'd stack up about 12 of his points just from the free throw stripe alone. But those would be on like 12 of 20 attempts, So if he is able to become a better free throw shooter, I think he could match that production that you just read off. And again, it all comes down to efficiency for me and when you're available. If you're a guy that is a 15, 17 minute per night guy because you can't stay on the floor because you're constantly in foul trouble, that's an issue. But if you're a guy that can stay on the floor for, 20 minutes, 25 minutes, 30 minutes, and get to the free throw line a number of times and improve that and shoot at about a 77, 80% clip, and then that's a really, really impactful player. And that is what could live up to, what you just read off right there. So it just comes down to that improvement in year 2.
It also just feels kind of bad because you saw Zach Randolph cook for so many years.
Oh, yeah.
In a similar, Zach Edey is another guy where it's not the wrong era because he can still be a productive, helpful NBA player for years. It's just not the same level of production of Zach Randolph would really struggle in this era of NBA basketball. But when you look at Zach Edey, there's still value, and there are ways to punish opposing teams when you do go small. Like you saw the Rockets, right? Where everyone's zagging one way, and Ime Udoka was like, all right, well, I'm going to bring in Steven Adams. You extended Steven Adams to this point, and we're also going to play him with Sengun. who else is playing Sangoon and Steven Adams together in the NBA in 2025? And those numbers, when you look at the on-off ratings, were great. Like, those numbers were fantastic. Yes, they got beat by the Warriors, but it was still young team, first time getting their feet wet against champions in Steph Curry and company. That, like, it is what it is. Like, that's not a bad first round playoff exit in my estimation. They still gave them all they could handle in that series, but it's like, that is something you're going to see more of, where once you zag so far in the pace and space era, some teams are like, you know what? It's kind of like in football, William, where the Niners and Kyle Shanahan, part of what his ethos is like, all right, if we have less time to tackle and we have less time, and guys are getting worse tackling over the years because they spend less and less time on it, we practice less and less, we're going to get Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey, and a bunch of dudes who people don't want to tackle. And that has worked. I mean, it got them to the Super Bowl. Yes, they don't have a title, but that style, it makes a lot of sense. So I think the Zach Edey's of the world will flourish in different ways in terms of just like, hey, you don't have a lot of guys who can bang and want to bang with Zach Edey in the post for 24 to 28 minutes a night.
Yeah, well, you mentioned that Rockets-Warriors matchup. The double big lineup for the Rockets actually had a ton of success for them, and it is what took that game to 7, or took that series to 7 games. Now, when you play a team like the Warriors, if they're able to, hit their shots from the perimeter, the Rockets just had a lack of three-point consistency, and that's why they were able to be knocked out. But I think if you're going to run the counter, you've got to do it against the right team, and you also have to have the defensive pieces implemented to where they're not able to rain threes, because that is where you get caught for doing that double big lineup. But then if you go up against a team that is smaller, like the Warriors, where you're running a Draymond Green at the 5, you're going to have the opportunities to have an advantage on the glass. But I mean, even at times in that play-in game last year, the Grizzlies would get pounded on the glass by a team like the Warriors in the first half, which is inexcusable. Again, it's all about, being able to stay on the floor, as Edey was a guy that got in foul trouble. Scottie Pippen Jr. was another one as well, and that's one of those defensive pieces, and that's why I believe the Grizzlies just got too far behind early on, and we're not able to come back and win that game. And John Morant got hurt as well. But if you're going to run that double big lineup, you've got to have the defensive pieces in place on the perimeter to axe the three-point artillery from the opposing team. The Grizzlies can do that with a Zach Edey, but again, it's got to come down to mobility and not getting kind of, moved around by some other more physical guys like a Draymond Green. Draymond Green was kind of having his way at times with a Zach Edey. He's got to get stronger physically. He's got to get better mobile-wise, his agility, that quick first step. So a lot of things to improve on, but I think in year 1, he demonstrated what he could be if you were fine and fine-tune a couple of things.
I love it. When we come back, we'll talk about ESPN's David Hale and where he placed Tennessee in his FBS tiers in 2026. Stick with us. It's The Chase right here on Fan Run Radio, Fox Sports Knoxville, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM, and always streaming for free on that Fan Run Radio app.
The flagship station for Tennessee football. Fans. Fan Run Radio.
I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear, call me Papa Bear, because I'm grilling up dinner. Do you get it?
Yes, good job.
So, what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container, because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha, 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 ha.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
What's the difference between an ordinary EV and a Mercedes-Benz EV? The feeling. Electric is what gets you there. Mercedes-Benz is what moves you in ways no other automaker can. Feel the freedom of the superbly versatile 7-seater EQB. Revel in the inspired, customizable comfort of the EQE sedan. Sense the brilliant intelligence of the EQE SUV. Discover the boundless capability of the EQS SUV. And luxuriate in the flagship meets spaceship magnificence of the EQS sedan. Every Mercedes-Benz electric vehicle offers the very latest MBUX voice-activated AI software, as well as remote access to a whole host of functions via the Mercedes Me Connect app. The vehicle's electric, the feeling all Mercedes, the choice all yours. Test drive a Mercedes-Benz electric today at your local dealer or learn more at mbusa.com/EQ.
Yee-haw! I've been hooting and hollering ever since I started betting with the VIP Play app.
VIP Play has more than 200 leagues, every bet type you can imagine, live betting and live hosts, all with 24/7 support from real live people when you need them. Start betting better with the VIP Play app today.
Don't be a better, be a better with VIP Play today.
Download VIP Play today or head to VIPPlayApp.com. Make sure you use the promo code FANRUN to take advantage of their welcome bonus and so they know that we sent you. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-8899-789. Must be 21 or older and located in Tennessee to bet.
Hey Knoxville, Surfside iced tea and vodka made with real brewed tea is only 100 calories, 2 grams of sugar with no bubbles and no troubles. That's right, zero carbonation, so it's easy to sip and enjoy. Headed to a game day or party at a friend's house? Bring an iced tea or lemonade variety pack from Surfside or try their green tea and new raspberry tea vodka. Find the can with the sunset stripes this season. Surfside iced tea and vodka, sold at bars, restaurants, and stores near you. Surfside iced tea and vodka, sunshine in a can. Must be 21 or older. Enjoy responsibly.
Located in Knoxville's historic Old City, Barley's offers great food, live music, the best draft beer selection in town, and now your new favorite place to watch sports. Their indoor projector is perfect for any weather, and they've revamped their upstairs area with more TVs to take in all of the action. Their menu features hand-battered chicken tenders, juicy burgers, fresh salads, and the tastiest pizza in Knoxville. You can enjoy their happy hour drink specials daily from open until 6 p.m. Barley's Tap Room and Pizzeria.
You're listening to FM 105.7 and AM 1340, WKGN Knoxville, and W289CU Knoxville, Fan Run Radio.
We really need to get some branded stuff. Shirts, hats, promo items, something professional.
I mean, we could just find a website and order a bunch of it ourselves.
You could, but you're taking a big risk. You don't know the quality, the fit, the timeline. It's a roll of the dice.
Yeah, I guess. But isn't that how everyone does it now?
Not the ones who actually care about how their brand looks. Look, if we're putting our name on it, it needs to be done right. We need SM Athletics.
SM Athletics?
Yeah, they specialize in working with businesses like ours. Apparel, hats, promo gear, but real, customized stuff. They actually care if it turns out right.
Probably a lot better than getting stuck with 100 t-shirts with crooked logos.
Exactly. Plus, they'll walk you through everything. Sizing, colors, material, so it matches the image we're trying to build.
Makes sense. What's the name again?
SM Athletics. Trust me, if you want to look like a real company, not a flea market stand, this is the move. If you're serious about your brand, work with people who are serious about getting it right. SM Athletics.
Are you looking for a treat that will knock it out of the park at the next watch party? Just like your favorite baseball team, Crumble brings the best lineup week to week with an expanded roster that includes key lime pie, strawberry cake, or my personal favorite, Monster featuring M&M candies. Let Crumble treat you to the best cookies in the game. Download the Crumble app and start earning rewards. You can even vote monthly on what flavors you would like to see at any store of your choice. Warmer weather is here, so get to the ballpark, but don't miss the cookies.
It's the Chase right here on Fan Run Radio, Fox Sports Knoxville, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM, and always streaming for free on that Fan Run Radio app. You can also watch us live stream over there on our YouTube channel, growing more and more each and every day for all the folks who want to watch this very program and talk sports, under review, the drive, overtime, the slate. Guess what? You can watch them all right here on our YouTube channel as well. So make sure you check us out and subscribe and hit that thumbs up button over there at youtube.com/fanrunsports. You can also listen for free on that Fan Run Radio app. Make sure you download it today if you have not already. It's easy, and you can listen wherever, whenever, right there on that free Fan Run Radio app. As we continue on here in hour number 2, Jack Foster of Rocky Top Insider and Omar Productions, are you on the line right now?
Let's try again. Chase, can you hear me?
There he is. There he is. This is a great day. What a fun Friday. Right into hour number 2, Jack Foster. You can see him on the screen, and you can also hear him on the airwaves right here on the Chase. So we're back to a full house. Jack, how are you doing going into hour number 2?
I'm doing much better now. Hopefully the audio is better for the listeners and viewers as well. I assume it is. But yeah, glad we can see each other and get this thing rolling here in hour 2.
There we go. I love it. I appreciate to all the good folks here behind the scenes. We we're moving, man. We're adding more and more tech in each and every day. So it's an exciting time right here on Fox Sports Knoxville and Fan Run Sports Radio. So, Jack, one of the things I think is really interesting in terms of tiering and where the national folks see Tennessee versus where the local folks might see Tennessee. David Hale did a huge piece over there on ESPN today in terms of his tiers for all 136 college football teams in 2026. When you look at where Tennessee ultimately is going to be going into next season, does that sound about right to you? Does it, when you see tier 3 for Tennessee and the teams that are grouped with them in the SEC, and his 6 are Florida, Oklahoma, Ole Miss, South Carolina, Tennessee, and Texas A&M. Does that feel about right to you?
Yeah. Are we sure this is going into 26 or this fall?
Or this fall. I meant 25, excuse me.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
so it's going into this season. And yes, it does make sense. And the way he did, which, by the way, love this article, big tier guy, okay? Like, as a huge fantasy football fan and avid player, tiers
Yeah.
are something you use constantly. So love the concept of tiering teams in a preseason setting like this. And yes, it makes sense. There's no other way. There's no other tier Tennessee could have possibly landed in the way he did it. Tier 2 is just much better teams at this point, like the Bamas and LSUs of the world, Miami, Notre Dame. And then, he had the Cinderellas from last year in Tier 4 with the Boise's in Indiana, SMU. And then below that, it's middling Big Ten teams, maybe with some more upside. It's other teams where you look at upside. Tennessee, to me, isn't a team with a lot of upside in 2025. I think they have a relatively safe floor due to the schedule and really good defense. But there's no other place you could have possibly put Tennessee with the way he did it here, other than Tier 3 with the other SEC teams, to where you look at it, hey, if this team gets hot, if things go just really well, all things go right, there's a path to 10 wins, but there's probably not a path to 11. And there's not a reasonable path to them losing 5 or 6 games, right? Like, they're going to probably win at minimum 8 games. So it's that 8 to 10 range, whereas the best teams in this tier will probably finish with 10 wins, and the ones on the lower end will finish with 8.
Are we sure a minimum of 8 wins based on where things are headed this fall camp? Are we locked in on 8 for sure?
For Tennessee, yes, just because of the schedule. I have a very hard time seeing them lose 5 games.
Do we agree around the room here, Garrett? Is the floor 8 for sure?
The only way that I could see them losing 5 would be if they lost to Syracuse.
I agree.
Syracuse, Florida, Georgia, Alabama, and then if you drop one more, Oklahoma or Arkansas. So,
Arkansas would be brutal. Arkansas at home, I don't see it.
I don't see it happening either, but I will say they have an exciting quarterback. He's a dual threat guy. Again, this would be to go 7-5. Your defense would have to take a significant regression from last year, and if he was to play well in Neyland Stadium, it would be because the defense took a significant regression. So I think the floor's 8 or 9 wins. I don't see any way 7 happens.
What do you think, Jay?
Yeah, I don't believe that. Again, Syracuse is going to be a test. If they do somehow struggle versus them, then maybe it'll be lower than 8. But again, I don't expect lower than 8.
Yeah, Syracuse is the one just because it's the first game. Say Aguilar wins the starting job and it's just a complete disaster. There's pick 6 and Syracuse is up 2 scores at half, and you don't have a good enough offense to come back and you lose a close one. That's how you lose week 1. I think that is not going to happen. I think there's a very small chance that does happen, but to me, that's the only one I see to where Tennessee loses a 5th game if they just get shocked there in Atlanta.
I can't get there with Syracuse. Tennessee has absolutely demolished their last 2 ACC opponents in Virginia and NC State, and Syracuse down there at 3.5. They just have lost. So they're just not what they were.
And they have they might not even make a bowl game with their schedule this year. Now they're probably an 8-win team. Like, they're not that much lower than we are. They have a quarterback battle as well. They lost a lot of skill position players and Trevor Pena. They lost their running back. They lost their tight end. Like, they lost a lot of pieces as well. But like Jack said, the constant factor is we have a defense that we know is going to show up, hopefully, for all 12 games.
Yeah, and Jack, when you look at the other groups in here, that it's a good point that a lot of people, when I see a lot of different preview stuff, and this is, I wonder if part of the reason you like these tiers, is that everyone – it's just too many wins. I've noticed for a lot of guys. Like, I think it's because we like a lot ostensibly about a lot of these different teams in the SEC. And I think one of the talking points coming out of SEC media days where Tennessee got picked ultimately. Like, there's not a lot of difference between the 5th best team in the SEC this year and like maybe the 12th. And I think that's what complicates it, but the record still won't be close. Like, teams are going to lose games. Like, you're going to play each other. And like you said, Tennessee has the benefit of playing a very favorable schedule in 2025. But I do think somewhat like Oklahoma and Florida and Auburn all can't have breakout years, like all of them can't break through at the same time. I don't think South Carolina can't break through at the same time as LSU and everybody else, so like the losses do have to come in. When I look at this tier 3, it seems like we're all pretty bullish that Tennessee is not going to be one of those teams that is like a 6-6, 7-5 type of team. But of Florida, Oklahoma, Ole Miss, South Carolina, A&M, who makes the most sense to you, or maybe even 2 teams here that probably end up losing games that a lot of people don't anticipate, or their losses don't match how good we think they are going into the year?
Yeah, I think the one that scares me the most is Ole Miss. I know Austin Simmons had that good drive, and he's a really talented guy, but Ole Miss has lost a lot defensively, and it's just a much different looking team this year. South Carolina, even though they bring back Dylan Stewart, has lost a lot of talent defensively too. And look, you're not going to find a guy that's as big on Lenore Sellers as I am. I think he could, be the best quarterback in the league this year. But I am a little bit worried about South Carolina. And obviously, South Carolina is just a program that hasn't been as good as others from a talent perspective in years past. So they could struggle. To me, Tennessee has a high floor. Oklahoma has been underwhelming in the Brent Venables era. They could underwhelm again, although I am high on John Mateer. I think A&M's similar to Tennessee in that I'm confident A&M the bottom won't fall out for them. And, I don't see a tremendous ceiling to their season. I don't think they're going to make the CFP. So I put Tennessee and A&M in a similar category. Ole Miss and South Carolina as 10-win teams, 9-win teams from a year ago that I'm a little bit worried about. Oklahoma is a true wild card to me. And then Florida would be the team I am the highest on of this group as a team that could win 10 games. I love DJ Lagway. I think Florida could be cooking this year.
Yeah, and I mean, the health is such a weird part. I mean, you had the health scare with Garrett Nussmeier this week. You have DJ Lagway, the walking boot scare a week ago. Yeah. Not a lot of depth behind DJ Lagway. It's just so much boom or bust. I mean, I think their receivers were banged up this week too. So Tennessee is not the only programs dealing with injuries, the wide receiver position here in fall camp. But I have a hard time believing that all 3 of Florida, Oklahoma, and Auburn have the kind of years that these 3 coaches need to have, whether that's Venables, Napier, and Freeze. I think all are going into critical seasons with their programs, but I think you and I are aligned here that Florida is the best bet of the 3 in our estimation, right, Jack?
Yes. Yeah, I love Florida. And Auburn I would not put in this category, like really whatsoever. I don't get the Auburn hype as much as others. And, I produced for Greg McElroy. He loves the Tigers this year, but, I'm worried about Jackson Arnold, and I know they have some continuity there, and this is kind of just supposed to be the year, but I just don't see it as much as others. And really, you're talking about not all these teams can win games. I just feel like Auburn is the longest shot of all these teams to truly break out like that.
Garrett, do you agree? Longest shot Auburn of this group?
Yeah, I mean, he has playmakers if Arnold can get the ball to them. I mean, he has Cam Coleman. He has Eric Singleton. I mean, Cam Coleman was, outside of Ryan Williams, he was the best freshman wide receiver in the SEC last year. Now, granted, they were feeding him the ball the last month of the season because I think they wanted him to definitely stay. But, I mean, you go out and get Georgia Tech's wide receiver 1. Arnold, obviously very high touted high school prospect, did not work at Oklahoma last year, but a lot of that was they had the worst offensive line in the SEC. They were on their, 3rd page of their depth chart for wide receivers. They just had a lot of injuries. So he's playing for a defensive-minded head coach. I always wonder how much that impacts, Venables and Oklahoma QBs. That's why I love, Mateer going there. It just, when you play for a guy that's defensive-minded, that always kind of concerns me a little bit if they're playing too safe and if they're going to let the player do, what he can do, especially Mateer being such a dual threat guy. But yeah, as for Auburn, I mean, they bring back, I think on defense, they do bring back a pretty good amount, but again, can they do it? They have a tough schedule. Florida has a really tough schedule, but I would say Florida is probably the best team of those 3 or 4 teams that you said that are, one of those is poised for a breakout year. Like Jack said, I think A&M's probably an 8-4, 9-3 team. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. I also don't.
There's some playoff buzz for them. People really like Marcel Reed and A&M this year.
Yeah, no, they do. But, I mean, they have that non-conference game against Notre Dame. I would, suspect they probably lose that. So that's a loss there. And then if you lose 2 games in conference play, your playoff hopes are over with. So
that's true. I don't know. Of the 3, Jay, Napier, Freeze, and Venables, who is most likely out after this year?
Freeze.
Okay.
I think if they don't beat Alabama this year, I just don't see them coming back.
Yeah, that's a weird one too. And I mean, they're getting a little bit more buzz. I mean, they're in the 50s in terms of the 247 and on 3 like recruiting rankings. It's just they're picking up a little bit more. It's also in the benefit of Tennessee that A&M and or Auburn don't have great years with who their final big time recruiting targets are, with Tristan Givens and Hezekiah Harris with Auburn and Texas A&M respectively. So it's you kind of want those things to go off the rails a little bit, and so Tennessee can flip one of those 2 blue chip tight edge rushers in 2025. But yeah, I think the one that surprises me, Jack, that is not in that list of tier 3 is Mizzou, because Mizzou has an arguably easier schedule than Tennessee. The over-under for them, I think, is 7.5 going into this year. You still have a quarterback battle. It seems like Sam Horn is giving Bo Prabila all he can handle, the 2-sport player from Collins Hill back in the home state of Georgia. But I don't know. Are you surprised that Mizzou is left off this list, considering Drinkwitz, I think, has won, what, Garrett, 19 games his last 2 years? Somewhere around there.
They won 11 and 23 when they beat Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl, and then what did they win 8 last year?
I think they won 9 after the bowl win. Yeah.
Okay, so he won 20 then.
20, yeah, the last 2 years, and they're not in that list. I don't know.
I think they won 10 last year, right?
Did they get to 10?
9-3 in the regular season, yeah, and 10-3 with the bowl game.
There you go.
Iowa and the Music City Bowl.
Yeah.
And they're not in this list.
Yeah, well, I was thinking that Oklahoma game where Oklahoma fumbled it like in the red zone late. I forgot they won that game. Yeah.
I don't know. Does that surprise you, Jack?
Yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying. The logic is there, and maybe Mizzou could find a way to 8-9 wins. I just think this tier is meant for, these teams all have the talent to potentially get to 10 wins, because we could talk about how Tennessee has a capped ceiling, which I believe they do, but, it wouldn't be the just most tremendous shock in the world if Tennessee found a way to 10 wins and one of these quarterbacks played really well, just did what he was supposed to do. Mike Matthews flourishes, defense is elite, run game's there, like everything kind of falls into place correctly, and Tennessee gets there. I just don't think the upside's there with Missouri like the others. I mentioned Tennessee and A&M don't have a ton of it, but I think Mizzou has less. And you're right with the schedule, but that Oklahoma game turns into a road game this year. I think that's a loss. Alabama, still a loss. You have A&M on the schedule. You're going to Vanderbilt for what that's worth, and that was a double overtime game a year ago. There's losable games here that Mizzou will probably end up being favored in slightly. You do go to Auburn as well. So I don't know. There's just some games in there to where I don't think Mizzou will find a way to 9 wins. I just don't think they're as good, but they'll probably end up having a solid season yet again. And when it comes down to records of these 7 teams, including Missouri with these 6, they should have belonged. But to me, I agree with David's tier here because there's just not as much upside with the Tigers.
When we come back, we'll do our Year 2 Lowdown series, continuing on with Mike Matthews and what to make of him going into his first full season as a starter on the outside for Tennessee, fellow Parkview alumni Mike Matthews. So excited to dive into him. What should be reasonable expectations for Mike going into Year 2, most interesting part to his game, and a couple other Mike Matthews notes. So stick with us, The Chase, right here on Fan Run Radio, Fox Sports Knoxville, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM, and always streaming for free on that Fan Run Radio app.
For the fans, by the fans, this is Fan Run Radio, Knoxville.
Hey, Pack Rat. Yeah, you. Are you moving cross country and you just don't know who to call? Call us right now. Listen, you've probably seen one of our containers in your neighborhood, but did you know that we can help you move anywhere in the United States? It's real simple. We'll drop a container off at the location you tell us to bring it to. You pack up your valuable possessions at your leisure. They stay safe right in your home. And when you're ready, call us. We'll come and pick up the container and give you a scheduled date of when your furniture furniture and the other possessions will be at your new home. So if you're moving across country or across town, be a pack rat. Join the Pack Rat family. Call Pack Rat right now for your free quote. See y'all later, Pack Rats.
Call 800-965-1298. 800-965-1298. 800-965-1298. That's 800-965-1298.
Barley's has live music on weekends, general team trivia on Wednesday nights at 8 p.m., and now live sports trivia courtesy of the Knoxville Trivia Guys every Thursday night upstairs. The game starts at 7 p.m. and is free to play for everyone, so head on down to the Old City and show off your sports knowledge and win gift cards to Barley's. Use those gift cards to buy some delicious food and drinks, and you can take it all in with their wide selection of TVs and indoor projectors. Barley's Tap Room and Pizzeria.
A brand built in Tennessee and born from the love of the game. Inward Half revolutionizes golfing comfort. Crafted by a former pro and dedicated enthusiast just like you, our luxury performance wear guarantees you stay cool and comfortable through every swing and every day. We're not just a brand. We've set out to create a lifestyle for those who understand that impeccable style and premium performance are a hole-in-one. Enjoy the walk-in with Inward Half.
Citizens National Bank.
We make it easy to save money. Get access to thousands of discounts on shopping, dining, and travel with the CNB Plus Perks account. It's a powerful new way to save money with roadside assistance, cell phone protection, identity theft protection, and credit monitoring. Banking at CNB has its perks. Call or stop by a branch for more details.
Citizens National Bank. Banking never felt so good.
Member FDIC.
Doctors take Field of Greens for their own health. Here's Dr. Ryan Green to explain.
We're like you, too much fast food, not enough exercise. That's why I take Field of Greens. The fruits and vegetables in Field of Greens support my heart, lungs, kidneys, and metabolism for weight loss. And Field of Greens promises your doctor will notice your improved health or your money back.
Get 15% off with promo code RADIO at fieldofgreens.com. That's promo code RADIO at fieldofgreens.com. Product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Believe in family. Believe in your fellow man. Believe in honesty and an honest day's work. We do. We're Farm Bureau Insurance. And we don't just believe in Tennessee. We believe in Tennesseans. Farm Bureau Insurance, Tennessee's insurance company.
This is Baseball VFL Cody Brown. Farm Bureau Insurance is the official insurance for Tennesseans. Believe in me for all of your insurance needs. Give me a call at 865-992-3871.
Ready to launch your career? Axle Logistics is a leading third-party logistics company where excellence is an energy. With an award-winning culture, Axle proves that positive outcomes come from a positive environment and a work hard, play hard mentality. At Axle, the drive for success is infectious. And with an uncapped commission structure, hard work isn't just noticed, it's rewarded. For those with big goals and even bigger dreams, Axle Logistics is the place to start your career.
In a world filled with deadlines and screens, sometimes we forget the simple joys of life, days filled with special moments. At Inward Half, we understand the essence of these moments. Feel the difference between our breathable fabrics and flexible apparel as you disconnect from the hustle and bustle and reconnect with what truly matters. Inward Half, simple luxury for on and off the course.
Whether you are buying or selling a home or even looking for some land to build on and start a family, be sure to give Reed Emerson with Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate Heritage Group a shout. He is a longtime listener and supporter of Fan Run and has been serving the Mid-State for many years. Reed prides himself on his hassle-free and honest approach. And that's because he's not just chasing another commission. He wants what is best for his clients. Give Reed Emerson a call or text him today to get the process started. His number is 931-492-0418, or you can find him online at bhgheritagegroup.com.
It's a Chase right here on Fan Run Radio, Fox Sports Knoxville, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM, and always streaming for free on that Fan Run Radio app. And speaking of streaming, guess what? You can also watch us over there on our YouTube channel, growing more and more. We're closing in on 1,500 subs over there. So if you want to watch these very programs like the Chase, 1 to 3, Monday through Friday, you can see Jack and myself right there on Fan Run Sports on our YouTube channel. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and tune in, as Jack will be here back on Fridays with me right here on the Chase remotely with the Avenged Sevenfold in the background, Tennessee home plate signage in the background, and the Tennessee Nutcracker in the background. So we're happy to have Jack back on this fine Friday. As we continue on here in hour number 2, Mike Matthews is a really interesting year 2 player, Jack. And so one of the things I wanted to highlight about him, and I'm always going to be biased to an extent with Mike just because we went to the same high school back there in Little Bernstein Mountain, Georgia, and fellow Parkview Panther alumni. Mike Matthews, the thing that I'm so curious about him going into year 2 is I think what a lot of people, they see 5-star, right? And the expectations were sky high. I think there is no question Mike Matthews, based on the production you got last year at receiver, should have been playing more, especially at the Brew spot. Like, I think Brew, great leader, but Brew was not the same and not the same level of explosive guy that we saw before the injury in 2023. You had to have Dante Thornton on the outside whenever he could play. But when it comes to Mike on that other side of Brew, they should have been splitting snaps a whole lot more than you actually saw a season ago. That much is obvious. Mike should have played a whole lot more in 2024 based on the production you were getting. I do think, though, that people forget, and this is where like 247 Sports can do like kind of a victory dance when it comes to how their final wide receiver rankings of that 2024 class, because there are only 3 5-stars in that group on 247 Sports for 2024. The 3 are Jeremiah Smith, Ryan Williams, and Cam Coleman. All 3 had fantastic seasons, debut seasons. 8 TDs for Cam Coleman. He was electric at Auburn. He was kind of overshadowed because Auburn stunk. But he had a bad quarterback, bad situation, and he still balled out as a true freshman. But Ryan Williams balled out against Georgia, obviously, on the big stage. Ryan Williams had a great year at Alabama. And another situation where the quarterback situation was not ideal with Jalen Milroe going out the way he did, and just a bad fit for him in that Kalen DeBoer offense. And then you obviously have Jeremiah Smith, who's just a unicorn of all unicorns when it comes to wide receivers. Those are the only 3 who actually broke out as true freshmen and had great years. Mike was a 4-star on 247 Sports. They had him as a top 10 guy, but he was not a 5-star along with the other 3. So I think he's been kind of unfairly criticized in some ways in terms of expectations after his first season on Rocky Top. I think what's interesting is the guys who he's around in that top 10. Ryan Wingo, who Tennessee was chasing at a big clip in that same class. He had 29 receptions, 472 yards, 2 TDs, 16.3 yards per reception last year at Texas. I think if Mike had played how much he should, like that probably would have been around the number Mike would have landed at last year at Tennessee. I think he should have been playing close to what Ryan Wingo was playing at Texas. And then you also have like Perry Thompson, who was right there with him, the other 4-star wide receiver at Auburn last year to come in with Cam Coleman. He only had 5 receptions, 126 yards, 1 TD his first season at Auburn. So it's not like this uncharted waters in terms of what Mike produced as a true freshman at Tennessee. I think it's a big year for him. And I think he's been unfairly grouped and had the same expectations as a Cam Coleman, as a Ryan Williams, and as a Jeremiah Smith. That doesn't mean you sell your stock. It just means it might take a little bit longer. And he was not what you saw Jeremiah and company do last year is a rarity. And I think people expected way too much from him last year. And I think this year is where you want to see a whole lot more from Mike Matthews. He's going to have the opportunity. What do you think?
Yeah, I think you're right in the fact that people expected too much of him. But I also hope, and I think this is the case, but I hope that people feel this way. It's that Mike Matthews didn't underwhelm last year. You mentioned it. He didn't see the field enough to even have a good gauge. So it's not that Mike Matthews, disappointing freshman season. Numbers wise, sure, but it's not his fault. He just didn't play enough. If he had, maybe he would have had a Ryan Wingo type stat line, or, and that's not even close to the elite freshman, of course, but, a better stat line getting, halfway to 1,000 yards, something like that. So not really his fault. His first year on Rocky Top was underwhelming statistically, but yes, you're right. This is a massive year for him. He's obviously going to start this year. I liked your Brew McCoy comparison in a way that he's got to be that high percentage option this year. You know, he's a guy who checks a whole lot of boxes, has good hands, can make explosive plays, but that's not his, really his game, and only like a Jalen Hyatt, right? He's not that type of receiver, but he's also not a Cedric Tillman to where he just relies on physicality and his size. He kind of can do it all really well. So he's got to be that guy for Tennessee this year. So now I would say the pressure is on him, but it definitely wasn't a year ago.
Yeah, and it's another situation where Mike's in a rough spot because Chris Brazzell has not practiced here in fall camp, and you don't know what you're going to get from Brazzell over the course of a full season. He has one vet around him, and he's now being looked at as the leader of that room. Like Mike is in a position. Braylon Staley missed multiple practices this week, and we'll see what his availability looks like. It doesn't seem like he's trending towards playing in your first scrimmage. Like Mike, they're being overly cautious with him, but Mike has a bunch on his shoulders, and he is also a new quarterback. Like he spent the spring. You remember he went and threw with Nico on the West Coast, and it was like, oh, I'm gonna get you. Hey, I'm gonna get some reps with Nico this offseason, and guess what? Nico spent all spring with the ones. Like you used all of your spring reps for Mike Matthews and Nico Iamaleava, building chemistry, building that's the tempo, building trust, building the timing that is required of this offense. So he's starting from scratch all over again, especially if it's not Jake, if it's Joey. Like he's got a couple months to get comfortable with Joey. And I just don't think it's fair to expect Mike to have this level of timing that is going to be required for Tennessee's passing game to operate at an elite level, because you just threw him another quarterback. Like this is another quarterback situation that he's going to have to learn and adapt with on the fly. And the expectations are sky high for Mike. So I don't know. I feel bad for him that he's in another kind of awkward, tough time going into this season.
It is an awkward, tough time, but I don't think people are imagining he's going to be one of the best receivers in the SEC. At least I hope that's not the case. He's not going to set the world on fire, and the offense won't really allow him to do that, I don't think, at least the way the offense has been the last 2 years and the way I expect the quarterback play to be. Yeah. You have to temper expectations with that, but he has to be dependable. He has to be the best receiver Tennessee's had in the last 3 years, I think.
And it's also a big year for him too, when you think about the fact that, man, there's the flirting with the portal with Mike Matthews this past cycle, and you've already recruited 3 4-stars behind him. You have 3 4-stars coming in. That's not even including Tristan Keys. If they flip Tristan Keys, I mean, he's the kind of guy who might be a day one Ryan Williams, Jeremiah Smith starter. Like he is the number 1 wide receiver in the 2026 cycle. Like it's very fair to expect him to have an opportunity to start right away in 2026 if Tennessee were able to flip Tristan Keys this fall. There's competition behind him, a lot of young competition behind Mike. Like Mike, I think, has to show something. Mike has to show that he is a long-term answer on the outside for Tennessee. It's a sneaky amount of, hey, Mike, you gotta put up this year, even if the circumstances aren't great for you, because there's just so much young talent behind him.
I mean, I think he will put up though, because he had 7 receptions last year. They just didn't get him the ball. Like if they give him, like if he has 50 receptions, and carries that same, he had like 12 yards per catch last year. That's over a 500 receiving yard season. Gets 6-7 touchdowns, like 500 receiving yards, 6 touchdowns, 12 yards per catch. Like I think you're looking like that. That's really good.
Yeah.
Jeremiah Smith, you can't. I mean, that's a generational guy. Like he might be a wide receiver 1 his first day in the NFL. Like, he literally might be the best wide receiver in the NFL. Cam Coleman was in a situation where, like, I mean, he didn't really have a quarterback last year, but he was the wide receiver 1 on their team. They just fed him the ball. I mean, there's other guys in this class that haven't. I mean, Micah Hudson, obviously, he's been at Texas Tech. Texas A&M comes back to Texas Tech. And then, I mean, like JoJo Trader, who's at Miami, he's kind of in the same boat. He didn't really get any snaps last year until the bowl game. He was a top 10 recruited wide receiver in that class. He's supposed to be better for them. But, I mean, I don't know. It just depends, because all of these guys are in different positions. Even like TJ Moore and Bryant Wesco, they were in that Clemson wide receiver room as young talents, but they had, potentially the number 1 quarterback in the country this year throwing them the ball last year. And they have a 3-headed monster in that receiving room with Antonio Williams as well. And they're very pass heavy, So, I mean, it just kind of depends on what system you're in, I feel like, to an extent.
Yeah. What do you think, Jack?
Yeah, no, I think he's right. And it's so dependent upon situation. You talk about Cam Coleman getting fed. That's just how it is. Ryan Williams got fed. So Mike Matthews just didn't have the situation last year to thrive. He'll now have that. maybe not thrive this year, but he'll have at least the volume to show what he can do. And while I don't think, like I said, statistically he'll be among the best wide receivers in the league because of the other things around him that are limiting him, I still have high expectations for him to look the part and do what he's asked to do at a really high level.
And you got to be annoyed if you're Mike too, because you could not get on the field even though the production was not there, and they played the vets, and you were throwing Chaz out there at the slot, and that was not working. And then Chaz is gone anyway. But you saw Squirrel banged up, and you didn't even try Mike at the slot last year. And I think he's someone who could play on the outside of the inside. I think there was obviously, even if you want to play Brew on the outside with Dante, like you still could have given Mike snaps in the slot and see at least what he could have done in that way. But to me, I'm just like, you're going to see Travis Smith Jr. and Rodarius Jackson this fall. Like they're going to get reps because of how thin Tennessee is at that position. The freshmen are going to play, and Mike could not get on the field last season and get an opportunity even when the passing game wasn't there. It's just kind of like, oh man, well, all right, I get to see across. I mean, I'm happy for the guys after me, but it's kind of frustrating to see Travis Smith Jr., who I'm also very high on. These are back-to-back number one overall players in the state of Georgia in terms of the receiver front. Travis Smith from Westlake, Mike from Parkview in back-to-back years. But I think it's going to be a very stark contrast from what we saw from Braylon and Mike last year to Travis Smith and Rodarius, and maybe even Joakim Dodson this year, Jack.
Yeah, I'm still a little tentative on how much freshmen get playing time. You know, I know you're talking about the lack of depth, and that is more the case this year than any other in recent memory, really probably in the Heupel era. But Heupel's just always not done it, man. It hasn't happened a lot. And I think Smith and, maybe Jackson get definitely more snaps than Matthews did a year ago. I think Travis Smith for sure will, but how much more, I'm still a little curious on. If injuries happen, of course, it'll be a lot more because there's no one else. But, it's largely going to be Matthews, Brazel, and Staley. And I don't know how much rotation there's going to be.
Yeah.
I'll be interested. Like, what if Travis Smith, like week 2 against, we play ETSU week 2? Like, What if he goes for like 150 receiving yards in that game or something? And like, he has like a breakout performance on like, it's an FCS team, but it's like, you really see talent there. It's like, do you play him more in the Georgia and the Mississippi State game? Or are you kind of just like, we'll still kind of just ease him in there?
Yeah.
It's a good question. I don't know. I mean, he's going to have an opportunity. Like Travis Smith and I think Rodarius are playing a bunch in the ETSU game.
That's what I'm saying. They're probably like, if you're feeding, if they connect on a couple deep balls, I mean, what happens?
I don't know. Like we're in uncharted waters in terms of playing the young guys here with Kelsey Pope in this group. And I mean, if they're going to make a move, ETSU and I think Syracuse too. I just think because you're so banged up right now, like Syracuse might be the move. Like what if Travis Smith actually shows out in the Dome? Westlake right there, not too far from Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Does he show out in front of the hometown crowd and his family being in attendance and all that? What if Travis Smith has a breakout game on the outside and Chris Brazel's not able to play a bunch of snaps? Does it affect Smith more than, or Brazel more than Mike? Because I feel like Mike is safer on one side. Brazel's the one, even with the veteran part of it, he's missed all of fall camp to this point. So to me, and he hasn't showed you that consistency that you can trust him anyway. If you're like, hey, Brazel kind of worked his way in and out of the rotation last year anyway. It's like, hey, we'll rotate him in with Travis, but we're going to start Travis going forward.
That might be, you might look to go with your, I mean, I think in that situation, you have to go with your 4-star guy that you recruited opposed to the guy that you got out of the portal that, again, it was a bad situation, but might have been a little underwhelming last season and then banged up. It's like, you might want to just roll with the younger talent Matthews that was the guy that, you cooked up through through recruiting opposed through the portal. But I mean, again, I don't think they're going to play favorites. They're going to figure out, who the best receiver is. And obviously that's what they're going to do, but it will be interesting because one of those freshmen, I think, is going to make they're going to have a very big impact on the season, and they might not put up, like he said, incredible stats, but I think there's going to be some play that they make throughout the season that you return back and you remember that play, or they have one game where they really show out. Like there's going to be an impact that's going to be on the field because you just don't have numbers enough where you can't use them. Like they have to be impactful.
When we come back, we'll wrap up with our favorite ball who never made it in the NFL. We'll go around the room here, and you can also join us if you want to call in and let us know who your favorite ball who did not pan out in the NFL, who was it over the course of your Tennessee volunteer football fandom? You can join the conversation. 865-966-3435 is the way to do so. 865-966-3435. Jack Foster on remote here on a Friday of Rocky Top Insider and Omaha Production is with us. It's The Chase right here on Fan Run Radio, Fox Sports Knoxville, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM, and always streaming for free on that Fan Run Radio app.
Check out our new and improved website at fanrunradio.com.
Is Tina there?
Who's this?
Yeah, this is Vince from the hit reality show Wives Don't Tell. Tina applied for our show to confess that her husband won't go to the doctor to get his erectile dysfunction checked. She said she's ready for a guy that can bring the heat.
All right, what the is going on? You know you're talking to her husband right now? Tina!
Well, she wrote the application that her man's performance is questionable. She's basically married to a coffee table. She also said, we live within driving distance to Men's Pro Knoxville, but he's too scared to get a blood test.
Oh my, she is done. She is so done.
Got you, Mike. It's nephew Tommy. Ain't no reality show. It's a prank. Men's Pro Knoxville is the real deal, fellas. Local experts, test results in minutes. Call 865-544-8220 or hit men'spro-knoxville.com before your lady books a new co-star. Men's Pro Knoxville, making it happen.
Yo, 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 what is up with it, homies? Talk sports. That's the show you want. It's the longest running sports radio morning show in town. You want your radio shows to be fun, and that's what Talk Sports is. Fun, fun, fun. No weirdo callers. I think Tennessee gonna go 6-6 this year. No nerdy guests. Well, their receiver depth is a little bit thin. Just two of the most entertaining guys in town, and Bubba giving you what you need. Tune in 7 to 10 a.m. every weekday here on Fan Run Radio.
This is Coach Josh Heupel. In football and life, you need a solid defense to protect what matters most. That's where Farm Bureau Insurance of Tennessee comes in. Score peace of mind with Farm Bureau Insurance, the official insurance of the Vols. They're your line of defense. FBITN.com.
This is Baseball VFL Cody Brown. Farm Bureau Insurance is the official insurance of the Tennessee Vols. I'm here to be that line of defense for all your insurance needs. Give me a call at 865-992-3871 and go Vols.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jacob Wilco, and I'm proud to join the team here at Knoxville Smiles, where we're leading the way in comfortable, modern dentistry. Many people are anxious about going to the dentist. Here at Knoxville Smiles, our team works hard to make the experience as comfortable as possible. We offer everything from warm blankets to sedation dentistry to help you relax and make your visit as enjoyable as possible. So if it's been a while since you've been to the dentist, give us a call at 865-539-1776 to experience a dental visit that will make you smile.
Hey Knoxville, Surfside iced tea and vodka made with real brewed tea is only 100 calories, 2 grams of sugar with no bubbles and no troubles. That's right, zero carbonation, so it's easy to sip and enjoy. Headed to a game day or party at a friend's house? Bring an iced tea or lemonade variety pack from Surfside or try their green tea and new raspberry tea vodka. Find the can with the sunset stripes this season. Surfside iced tea and vodka, sold at bars, restaurants, and stores near you. Surfside iced tea and vodka, sunshine in a can. Must be 21 or older. Enjoy responsibly.
Running a business, coaching a team, planning your next big event, you need more than just gear. You need SM Athletics and Logo Solutions. Custom uniforms, branded apparel, promotional products, done right, done fast, and built to show off your brand with pride. From local businesses to high schools to major universities, SM Athletics is trusted by winners. Get real service, get real quality, get noticed. SM Athletics and Logo Solutions, where your brand comes to life.
Visit smathletics.com and let's build something great together.
It's the Chase right here on Fan Run Radio, Fox Sports Knoxville, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM, and always streaming for free on that Fan Run Radio app. It's almost closing time right here on this Friday afternoon on the Chase with Jack Foster of Omaha Productions and Rocky Top Insider on the line in studio, kind of in remote studio from parts unknown. Jack, as we wrap up here, that I want to kind of pick your brain on, and all of our listeners, and you can jump in the conversation as well at 865-966-3435. 865-966-3435 is the way to call and text us to be a part of this final segment right here on The Chase. Your favorite Vol, Jack Foster, who did not make it in the NFL, was who and why?
And there's so many. This is such a difficult question. There's so many different ways to go. I think that it's a little premature to say this answer, but in 7 years, it won't be, and it will be definitely true for many, many Vol fans, and that's Hendon Hooker. Because how special the 2022 season was, how amazing he was for really 2 years for Tennessee, and he's never, ever, ever going to do anything in the NFL. I have a hard, I mean, at this point, it feels like a pipe dream for him to become an NFL starter. Sure, he'll probably find a way to stick around and be a backup, but let's face it, he's never going to be a guy in the NFL. So that, to me, I think will be the correct answer, even though it's a bit premature. Other candidates, I think that you can't say he was a bust because of how amazing he's been as a special teamser, but I think he was a little bit ahead of where the NFL was going. And if he was to be drafted in today's day and age, he would be utilized much better and be a much better player. And that's Cordero Patterson. I think he was just a little bit ahead of his time with his skill set. And, he's really just pigeonholed to being a receiver there for the Vikings. Kind of flamed out there, played for multiple teams, had a splash in Atlanta, of course, as a running back. But I think if he were to be drafted now as a 22-year-old with elite, game-breaking speed, which he's always really had, but obviously just in his prime, then I think he would be a true stud in the NFL, and he just never was quite that.
That's interesting. I think Hendon, I can't do it, but I mean, who would be more surprised is still in the NFL 5 years from now? Jalen Hyatt or Hendon Hooker?
Jalen Hyatt. More surprised.
I think I would be more surprised with Jalen at this point.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure.
QBs can stay in the league for a long time and never see the field.
Dobbs is in what? What year are we in with Dobbs now?
He was drafted in 17, right?
Yeah.
We're closing in, man. He's almost at a 10-year career.
Tyler Bray's been in the NFL for a while, too.
I think he's out.
Well, he's out of the NFL now, but he was in the NFL for a little bit.
He kept getting them checks. Tyler Bray was around. I think it was one of those where you see Tyler Bray throw around. He was kind of an early Joe Milton guy where Tyler Bray just had a freaking cannon. And it was just one of those. Yeah, we're keeping Tyler Bray around. One of the best arms. A great what if Tyler Bray. He'd be a fantastic. He's never talked about in the same way that other past Tennessee quarterbacks when it comes to the hype-ball offense. People underestimate like the deep ball. And Tyler Bray, man, dude had a rocket arm and mobile, a lot more mobile than Joe was, and could move around in the pocket. A lot of fun. Obviously, in a terrible era of Tennessee football, unfortunately, especially on the defensive side of the ball. But if you give Tyler Bray that Tim Banks defense, what does Tyler Bray look like at Tennessee? I don't know.
Yeah. Interesting to ponder.
I have a Tyler Bray vintage Tyler Bray jersey, I will say.
Yeah.
I have to make that known.
It's pretty cool.
Tyler Bray he was just fun. I like those kind of guys, like the Rex Grossmans, like just the guys who are just all over the place. Ryan Mallett was legitimately like really good. I mean, he went to the Sugar Bowl at Arkansas. Like Mallett had a good.
I'm talking about in the NFL though.
Right. I'm just saying like the college, like what made Tyler Bray fun in college, like those kind of guys. Like Rex Grossman was fun in college for just spinning it all over the place. I don't know. I like guys like that who just
Derek King.
Oh, yeah, he's coaching now, right?
He's the QB coach at Miami.
There you go.
Or no, he was at Miami, and then when Lashley went to SMU, he went with him. That's what it was. Because he was talking about he was like the development of Kevin Jennings was because of him.
Interesting.
So
he was a great college quarterback too.
Yeah, he was fun.
So Jack's got Hendon and he's got Cordero. Who do you have, Garrett?
I would say before my lifetime, probably Casey Clausen. I feel like that's just kind of a name. Like he had some good years. It was just past the Peyton years and past national championship years. And it was kind of as Tennessee was heading for that. I mean, they weren't there yet, but you were starting in a few, within the decade to start that, decade of decline.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people just want to forget pretty much everything in the 2000s up until about 4 years ago. But like players that I vividly remember, like I always was a big Trayvon Flowers guy. I really liked him. So that would probably be me. I just liked who he was as a person, met him before, cool guy. So I would probably put him as mine.
What about you, Jay?
So what do you mean not make it in the NFL? Just wasn't a good player or did not make it? in the NFL.
Just not a good player. You could do either. Just wasn't a good player in the NFL, or simply just was at Tennessee, never got drafted, or didn't make a training camp, whatever.
I took it as like never reached his potential.
Okay, so if you're doing something like that, I think Jalen Hyatt's a pretty good one. Yeah. Okay, so this player had a good few years in the NFL, but did not live up to his potential due to injuries. Tennessee all-time legend. Again, still had a few good years in the NFL, but Al Wilson is one of them.
Yeah.
I mean, he was all right for the Broncos, but he didn't live up to his potential.
I think Montario Hardesty is one to me, because Montario was really good at Tennessee, and Montario, another guy, just the wrong era for him. Montario is fun.
But I'll give you a guy who never made it to the NFL for Tennessee. And it's one of those answers where I thought about it, and then I realized it was right in front of me in plain sight, and that's Brew McCoy.
Yeah. Brew, the medical retirement. That's even more of a bummer, just the medical part of it. You know what I'll also say? It's been really fun that it's still TBD, but it doesn't seem like he's going to make it, is Princeton Fant.
Yeah.
Princeton was such a red zone, just Swiss Army knife for Tennessee that I always kind of wondered if he would benefit from being a hybrid type tight end fullback at the NFL level. I was kind of bullish because he's just such an athletic like freak, where he in an era where you're always trying to find ways to find guys who can do a lot of different things. Princeton was someone who, those hybrid guys, where there are some fullbacks in the NFL. Like, could he be a fullback tight end hybrid and stick that way? But it doesn't seem like, still TBD. He's still on a practice squad, so we'll see if he's able to figure it out. But Princeton Fant was someone I think Tennessee has quietly missed in the red zone the last couple of years.
Yeah, I kind of miss a guy that got hate. I feel like in the secondary, Kamal Haddon. I feel like Kamal Haddon was way better than people like gave him.
He got a lot better.
He's awesome.
It did not start off well,
Yeah.
and then he really turned it around. Yeah,
But I think people want to just remember like his first couple. Like they don't want to remember what he did late in his career, and then he's getting in the fight down at Florida.
Yeah, people remember squaring up against a Gator.
Yeah. They also remember the tackling. Wasn't it Florida also where he did not wrap up, where he went down, just head down, and just guy bounced off of him and he ran for 6? Wasn't that against Florida? He did that.
Yeah, I have another good one.
Oh yeah, go. Hold on, Jack. Go for it, and then we'll get Jay.
No, I was just gonna say, Chase, I'm glad you said Montario Hardesty because that's a little early for me. That's like earliest memories of watching Tennessee. But yeah, I mean, 1,300 yards his last year at Tennessee, and then tears his ACL in his first preseason as a second-round pick.
Yeah,
comes back, and then that was the Peyton Hillis days for the Browns. So they had guys, and I thought when I was thinking back to watching the NFL at that time, he always looked good when he was on the field. Just never really got a true chance. Justin Hunter around that time too flamed out,
he's
and
legend.
He was awesome at Tennessee. So
true.
Kurt Magid was another guy that I was thinking of.
Okay.
I just remember him being one of Tennessee's best players like the year I got into college football. So
I'll also say he was never like obviously an elite player at Tennessee, but Aaron Beasley just quietly turned into just a quality linebacker that Tennessee could count on. And he was someone I believe was a running back coming out of high school, kind of in that Arian Carter role where he was a two-way guy. And he evolved into being a really reliable linebacker for Tennessee. Like high tackle guy, high football IQ, one of the leaders on that defense. I don't know. I think Aaron Beasley to me was someone that I think a lot of Tennessee fans will probably forget a couple of years down the line, but he was right there and someone that you could really rely on. I would also even throw Jacob Warren in that mix. Or
Jacob Warren was one of the names that I was thinking of. Knoxville native, 6 years at Tennessee. He was definitely a guy that I was thinking of, kind of in the same line as Brew McCoy.
I mean, very solid. Do you have any other ones, Jack?
Yeah. You guys are naming a lot of recent names that, I'm just thinking of guys who were good prospects, but just didn't pan out. Like the Jacob Warrens of the world, it would have been awesome to see him make it in the NFL, but I'm just like, I never had those expectations really. I will say a name that did make it in the NFL, played multiple years as a starter, but was robbed of a long career due to injuries is Jawan James. He was a really good offensive lineman for the first 4 or 5 years of his career, and then back to back debilitating injuries just literally ended his entire career. So he signs that 4-year, $51 million deal with the Broncos in 2019 and just never is able to really play football again. It was pretty depressing. So I think he was robbed of a long career if you want to look at it that way.
I think this player was before my time too, but another guy that came to mind was Joey Kent.
Can I go ultra wild card?
Yes.
Chase McGrath, 2022 kick against Alabama.
Yeah.
He was a good kicker that year, and we got him from USC.
Well, hold on. A lot of disrespect to my guy, Charlie Campbell, who was better than him, the IU transfer the following year, but didn't have an Alabama-like kick. Charlie Campbell was better than Chase McGrath, but everyone's going to remember Chase McGrath because Chase McGrath hit the field goal to win and beat Alabama. And the
kick was terrible against Alabama.
It was It was a terrible kick.
Didn't he get tipped, though?
I don't think so.
It was a knuckleballer. I just remember that.
No, he choked. Honestly, he choked and got lucky. Let's keep it real.
Wow.
Can he choke when he still hit the field goal? Like Tennessee won the game, Jack. It got through the upright.
He got lucky. He got lucky it had enough distance because he made terrible contact.
I mean, can you imagine though? I mean, thank goodness this is not what happened. Can you imagine what that kick? It comes up just short, that knuckleball. Like it was iconic at the moment because it went through, but that call, I mean, Nestler just being like, and here they come, and then the fireworks and everything else. But it's so crazy that you're like 1 second away from a completely different scenario.
Well, the game also would have been over if they didn't call PI and they would have returned that.
It's true.
They would have been up 14. Like,
Yeah.
The game would have been over right there.
I have another kicker.
Yeah.
Michael Wilhoit. Or James Wilhoit.
James Wilhoit,
James Wilhoit, yeah.
Okay.
You think D. Williams will ever make it in the NFL? He was fun to watch. In
Oh,
college.
I love D. Williams.
Yeah.
D. Williams.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
D is like not. I didn't really think D was going to make it in the NFL. Like D is like
No,
just
but
a-
like, I mean,
yeah.
he was like an explosive punt returner.
Oh,
Like,
he's
he was-
so much fun. I mean, that's part of the reason Boo Carter should like be a lot of fun this year. Is like Boo has that same kind of that ability to make that first guy miss, which is just
That return
imperative.
against A&M was like one of the most.
That was
Insane
to watch.
fantastic.
Yeah.
He also had a couple against LSU. Was big. Like he
Yeah.
was really good in Baton Rouge, and then obviously the Vanderbilt one where my dad. I'll never forget. My dad thought D got really hurt. Like it was such a great swerve of D
Is that the
pretending
one where he's like grabbing his like.
his hamstring,
Yeah,
where I
and
think
then
he
he
acted
stood
like
up
he
like a
pulled, and then he
celebration.
started
Yeah.
celebrating.
Yeah.
Iconic moment in the rain in Vanderbilt where he completely
That was
swerves
a blowout
everybody.
too.
Yes, that was.
This
That
is
was
a
great
huge
stuff.
year for him, but a guy I've always loved watching. And, when he came in with Jalen Hyatt, I actually liked Cedric Tillman as an NFL player more than Hyatt.
Yeah.
Like I said, this is a huge year for him on Cleveland. Terrible situation with the quarterbacks, but he'll have opportunity. So I hope he can end up making it. But, if he ends up just not being a guy in the NFL, that'll be one too, because he has all the talent and skills in the world to be that. And then Chase kind of going the other way with this. Two names I want to point out semi-recently that are still in the league. Two guys that I didn't think would end up making it in the NFL. One, because it didn't look good early, and that's Jawan Jennings, obviously 7th-round pick, just a third-down specialist, but now going to be a top option for the 49ers in year 6 for him. And then how about Theo Jackson getting a second contract with the Vikings after going to multiple teams before he finally latched on? And as a starter for Minnesota, or at least at minimum a rotational player, and he was a 6th-round pick in 22. So love to see that.
Notorious Titans draft pick, Theo Jackson.
Yeah, right.
J-Rob special.
At the buzzer, Roberto, frequent caller, fan of the program, tweeted us. Heath Schuler and Derrick Rogers, two great pulls as well.
Derrick Rogers, great one. Yes.
Yeah, I love it. Well, that'll do it here for this Friday edition of The Chase right here on Fox Sports Knoxville Fan Run Radio. Thank you to Jack Foster back here on a Friday of Rocket Up Insider Nomad Productions. Thank you to Jay King. Thank you to Garrett Armbrust. Stay with us right here on Fan Run Radio. The Drive with Russell Smith and the Bears up next. Chase is back on Monday at 1 p.m. Have a wonderful weekend, Knoxville.